Good morning. We are back at the lake. It's October now and it's a little bit chilly in the mornings, but we are forecast sort of 18 degrees, so taking advantage of the weather while I still can. As you can see, the lake is completely placid, so I've actually been quite busy. I've already got the boat rigged up for sea anchor training. So I thought it'd be a good idea to play with the sea anchor today. And I've de-rigged the boat. There's no point having all the sails up, getting in the way. I don't want to capsize with all my batteries on board and whatnot, so I've de-rigged the boat, and we'll go for a little motor and play with the sea anchor. You can see there's been a lot of rain actually the last couple of weeks since we've been last here, and you can see where the rains come up. You can see the tide mark. It does tend to come up here, and actually it has come right up there in the past, which is why all the trailers were pulled right up. So before we go today, I've got one of my projects I've been doing, this little sort of metal ball. It hasn't rusted, so maybe it is stainless steel. I don't know. There's a bit of rust in there. Well, we'll soon find out. And the idea of this is that my jib, when you want to bring the jib down, so let's put the jib up. Oh, okay, I've got a wire caught around the mast, not to worry, you'll have to deal with that. But when you pull the jib up, and then when you want to release the jib, it doesn't come down. So there's two ways of dealing with this. First of all, you could fit a downhaul. So you could fit a piece of string or a line here, feed it, I don't know, through a pulley and back to the cockpit, and that would pull the mast down. Or I thought we could use a little weight and see if that works. So let's give that a go. Let's hoist the jib right up, and now we can release it and see what happens. Okay, so it gets it almost down. I think with a little bit of jolting that might work, so we'll give that a go. And it also means I can leave the jib on. When I de-rig the boat, I can just leave the jib down here and it'll behave itself down here. And if we put these little clips back on, that will also stop the jib from coming away from the bow shroud. You can see how easy these are now to click on and click off, just 3D printed. And there we go. Because that was another pain, you know, if one of those came off and the sail was sort of flapping in the middle, I couldn't reach it, especially mid-sail. I literally had to come into shore to sort it all out, which was a bit of a pain. So just a few extra things. There's the sea anchor there, which we'll just get out on the floor here before we proceed, just to sort of make sure we know what we're doing with it. But just some things going in the bag today. I've actually packed fleece today because that's I don't know, it just could be a bit colder, you know. I've also packed my wetsuit gloves. Sorry, they're designed for swimming, but you know, they still work. They're quite good actually. There's my food for today, which I've had to buy because my other half ate my lunch that was yesterday, which was supposed to be for today. That was great. And then because we're messing around with a sea anchor, I'm also going to put Stanley knife in the bag, because I forgot my sailing knife. But a Stanley knife just in case we need to cut anything loose. We've just got to be careful, and I've got this extra line here as well that we might use just to give a bit of a join in the sea anchor. Here's my outboard external battery wire. You can see there's the extra piece of wire that will go into the battery, so that's allowed me to make sure this battery can go right in there, so it's as forward as possible, and it really helps the boat to balance. So that's brilliant. Hopefully that battery's held its charge, and we will get a whole day out of it and give it a good test at least anyway. I've got my original lead propulsion battery that will go in as well, you know, just as backup. So here's the sea anchor. I've laid it out. So there I've attached the main line that you're given. It actually comes with carabiner clips, so I've attached that, but the weight's at the front, which is odd. I'm not entirely sure how that works. And then I've only been given the one line, and this line comes here and has another clip at the end of it. So, and you can see it's quite long. It's about, say about 10 meters, is that? Yeah. And that will clip on wherever we're clipping it. But how we retrieve it is a different matter. So, not quite sure how to retrieve it. Now, I have got this line here is floating rope. So I think what we'll do, we will attach the floating rope to this end, so we do have a retrieval line, and hopefully that will be enough to locate the line. I think it's better to have that on than not, and then find that you just can't retrieve it. Although I'm pretty sure with the conditions we've got right now, I'd just be able to motor around and pick the blooming thing out of the water. So, you know, it's not like we're in the middle of the Atlantic Ocean. So that's the sea anchor all ready to deploy. Right, so we're ready to sail, or motor, should I say, today. Motor's on. We need to just connect the battery up. So let's connect the battery up here first. I do hope I'm okay with my wet fingers, so we can make sure that's just not wet before we put it on. It all helps. And then that just ties on there. And then we'll just check the motor will run by switching it on. And then this side obviously has to attach to me. Right? There are a few things you do need to do if you're motoring. I do like to just check the motor actually switches on, so we can just check. There we go. So we just like to check the motor switches on. I also like to put it in. Oh, there you go. It's reading 54 volts from the battery, which is brilliant. It means that I've charged it up. I think 54.4 volts is the maximum. So it's lost 0.4 of a volt in about a week. So, and the battery does need to discharge a little bit. So I'm really chuffed with that. I'm hoping that this readout works with the battery. So we can, I don't know what that is. Oh, that's time left. And then we can have it in 100% or the voltage. So let's see what happens. I'm going to tie this onto me, and then we're going to launch. There we go. It's beautifully calm. Right, so we're going to motor, and we're going to try and get ourselves out the way, because everyone tends to sail and paddle and whatnot around the top end of the lake. And I'm going to kind of motor as far up here as I can. We're going to go into the middle of the lake, and we're going to see what happens. We're going to deploy the sea anchor and yeah, see what happens. We have some sun just peeping over the valley there, or the hill, should I say. We're in the valley. We're motoring up the lake. Interestingly, at 400 watts we were doing 4.9 miles an hour. 500 watts we were doing 5 miles an hour. 5.2 miles an hour, sorry. And then 750, which is 3/4 pace, we're doing 5.5 miles an hour. And then I'm just going to bang it up to full power. 5.6. The GPS 5.7. The GPS takes a little moment just to 5.7, which you know is about the maximum this hull's going to do. 5.8, 5.9. Okay. So we're in the middle of the lake. This is buoy D. I think the tide is now against us. I've turned the boat round, so we're just going to come up to the little buoy D to give us a reference mark, and we're going to see what happens if we just lie a hull as the first test. So here we go. I want to get right alongside the buoy. So that's 5 minutes. Just trying to adjust my light balance there. It's a little bit better. You may be able to see the buoy just there. So we've travelled in 5 minutes, I would say. Ooh, it's hard to judge really, but 50 meters, 60 meters at a push. Definitely not 100 meters, but probably a bit more than 50. So let's reverse the boat back, do the same test, but this time we're going to stick the sea anchor out. Oh, it doesn't do it justice. That just flew right over. Wow, like a Hercules, I think. Just a beautiful October morning. The sun is up. I've got my boat here with me. The only thing that's missing is a bit of wind, but you know what? When you've got your outboard, it's okay. Just sitting on the, if you can see, there's a nice dock here by the activity centre over there. Having my cup of coffee. I'm just going to sit here and let the morning pass away. The cafe here does the best coffee. Actually, it's not bad. This little old lady runs the cafe behind me there, and even that's closing. She said at the end of the week probably. They're only open Fridays, Saturdays, Sundays now, and they might close. I think they close when it gets you know, when it stops getting busy. So it's like the lake is starting to go to sleep for the winter. Very sad. Hello little one. No more bread, I'm afraid. Just checking how much clearance we've got there. Whoop. Yeah, we're close. Here's quite shallow. We just want to be careful we don't hit the propeller. If we reverse over there though, we should be fine. Here we go, just cast off. So, Sea Anchor Mark II. We are, I think now the wind is definitely coming from the usual southwest-south or, yeah, direction. Here's buoy D, and I've just reversed down that way. And we're just letting the boat drift. You can see we are drifting fairly well now. That's brilliant. Way better than, way faster than we were before. So that's 5 minutes, and look how far we've drifted. I mean, that is, it's way more than 100 meters, you know. I think that's like, you know, I don't know how far that is, but look, to give you an idea how far we drifted, we are nearly at the Red House, and we are pretty much in line with the Red House and the sort of bridge road works they were doing up there at the beginning of the season. So I'm going to motor back, and then we're going to deploy the sea anchor, and we're going to see what happens. I think I'm going to deploy it off the back and see what happens. Right, so gosh, it took me a minute to get here, and as I was just getting the sea anchor uncoupled from the bow and coupled onto the stern there, we drifted, gosh, 20-30 meters. So there's water coming over the stern of the boat now as well. So this will be a test to see if it just stops the boat. So I think we've got enough. I think we got enough there. Let's get this out. Now we've got to be very careful this time of getting the rope in the propeller. So I know that I can retrieve this just pulling it in. It's a tiny little parachute, so we know that's okay. So I'm gonna let it out. You can see, look at that already. It's just, look, feeding out, it's feeding out. And now you can see the parachute opening. If I just hold it, you can see there, look. That is 5 minutes, and look, we are at least half as close. And you can see the bridge and the house are kind of over there. They were definitely equidistant in between there, and you could hardly see the buoy on the camera. So it's definitely worked. You can hear when you're lying a hull, you kind of drift with the waves. You don't hear the waves lapping. When you've got the anchor deployed, you can hear the waves hitting the boat a little bit harder from astern. Now, the wind's picked up as well, so it hasn't stopped us drifting fully, but it's certainly stopped the drift at least by half. But I've got a few things I wanted to say. First of all, we're doing off the stern of the boat, so it might work better off the bow. The second thing is, you might be able to see the parachutes coming out the water, and I can feel it and see it on the line. When it comes out the water, you can see the line kind of go slack, and I think you can feel the boat. And then as it goes under again, it's sort of you can feel the boat get pulled back. So here we go. I'm going to deploy the anchor now. We're literally there, so let's get the retrieval line out first. Deploy the sea anchor again. This time we've adjusted the weight, the float here to be a little bit further back, which I think should let the sea anchor sit a little bit deeper in the water. And whoa, I could feel that. Oh, and instantly you can see, look how much tauter that line is. Yeah, that feels a lot better. So let's see how that goes. I've set the timer for 5 minutes again. Right, that was even better, I think. So this time the parachute did seem to still come out the top. You can see it's very close to the top now, but I think the drag was a lot stronger, and we're definitely closer to the buoy than we were before. So we're going to bring it in. I'm going to move the float even further in, I think, to see if we can let it drop, see if that has any effect. So I've deployed it. We're about, let's have a look, almost 2 minutes this time. It's definitely gone deeper. I haven't seen the parachute come above the waves yet, so it's definitely adjusting. This little float has got it to sort of drag a bit deeper, and I think that's definitely helped. But you can see from the waves that it's definitely rougher, and the wind has definitely picked up. So every time I do this test, this is the third one now, actually I think the current's getting stronger and stronger. So that's 5 minutes up, and we're definitely closer again. Look, that's the closest we've been to the buoy. We've drifted the least. So we're going to pull the anchor in, and then we're going to lie a hull. So that's the lying a hull test done again. We are definitely a little bit further because we're not in line here. We're past that line. I did start it a little bit late as well, so yeah. And I would say the wind died a little bit. Typical. So lying a hull, yeah, I mean, I think we got our drag down to a third of the distance with the sea anchor. I think we got about half, and then when we got the sea anchor deep on the third run, we were about only a third of the distance of drift. So I'm going to go back. I've already tied the sea anchor up to the bow of the boat. We're going to do some tests on the bow. Right, here we are. We're going to now, there's the buoy. We are now going to deploy the sea anchor off the bow. Oh, let's try and do this without falling in. So we'll get the line out, the anchor out. There we go. Okay, so it's keeping the boat beam on at the moment, which is interesting. So to me, that says that either the sea anchor's not big enough for this boat, or this boat just loves being astern to the waves, that it's just fighting it as much as it can, which probably in turn means the sea anchor isn't big enough. But we shall see. At the moment, I think we're not moving half as much as we were, so far this is working quite well. You can start to see the effects of the sea anchor that people talk about, where it sort of goes slack and then it goes taut. Now, it didn't do that from astern. There you go. So when there's a wave and you kind of roll down the wave, you really get a jolt from the line. Now look, there's a couple of decent waves on the way here. Look, breaking, actually breaking on my bow, so you can see. Oh, hello. Wait, these are biggies. So look, watch, see the line, there you go, taut, and then here we go. Look, as we go down, whee, look at that, and you can, wow, really feel the boat take a jolt there. So that's what they talk about, you know, when people say sea anchor, you have to be very careful with getting it measured to your boat, really, because, you know, they can yank it about and damage the boat. Let's just check the time. We have been, oh, we've got 20 seconds to go. Wow, I think that's our best effort yet. So maybe being off the bow just is, that's it, is better. It works better off the bow, maybe. So I think conclusions are, I don't think this sea anchor is big enough for my boat, so I'm gonna have to see if I can find a bigger one, and we'll do another test. Secondly, I think this boat loves to show its arse to the to the waves, which actually is a good thing if you're lying a hull, because it's safer that way than it is lying beam on. And at the moment, I wouldn't be able to recommend using the sea anchor with this mirror dinghy, because it's just pulling you beam on to the waves at the moment. So yeah, yeah. But I think the experiment has been a success today. It's stopped the drift significantly. It's just a shame we can't pull the bow into the wind.